My people were biologically determined for one purpose alone, to sense the coming of damn fine podcasts. I sense it coming now.
Perfect.
All right. Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Discovery Home Companion, your home for all your Discovery companionship while we discover a little something about our... No, never mind.
There might be some revelations here. I don't know.
Yeah. My name is Wade Bowen, and I don't have any of the other Kickers of Elves from the Rules of Acquisition with me for reasons you probably know if you listen to the last podcast or anything. But I do have some other good friends of mine with me. You may have heard a couple of them last week. We have Glenn Hall.
Howdy, everyone.
And Sean Parada.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
All right, thanks for answering.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, but wait, there's more.
Ah.
Also, new person has entered the arena.
A new challenger has approached.
Entering the octagon.
A new challenger is approaching.
Yeah. Yes, that's the.
I believe that is the Smash Bros. Terminology.
Thanks, nerd. No, we're all
single tier.
friends.
Is it approaches? I want to say approaches.
I think. Yeah, that sounds right.
All right, it doesn't matter. We also,
I don't care.
Yeah, doesn't care.
No, it's what this
we also
podcast is.
have Benny Scheckner.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. You can follow me on Twitter at Benny Scheckner. You can follow me on Instagram at Chicken Bones on the Ground. Come to my website, bennyscheckner.com. Gonna have all kinds of content up there soon. And thanks for having me.
All right. Yeah, I mean, plug away, I guess.
Boy, I guess it's plug time, huh?
Yeah, seriously, that's shaking things up a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people wait till the end, but I get it. You're eager.
Oh, this is the beginning? Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay. Mr. Benjamin Buttoning over here.
That's me.
Yes. But we'll just... enough pleasantries. I brought on these two guys because they didn't know shit about Star Trek and had no previous...
I think even less about it.
Yes. And then, so I'm going to bring on another friend of mine that moved away and we're talking to over the magic of the internet. Another person that doesn't have any real history with Star Trek to get cluttered up with. And he doesn't even have any history from last episode because I just made him watch this one. So
yeah, this is the only episode of this show that I've seen. The second episode.
Yeah. Enough dilly-dallying then. We'll just jump right into it. What did y'all think?
Boo.
Well, was that your
you know what? That's too confusing. What did you think, Benny?
You know something? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was really expecting not to like it. There's some things I thought were silly, but on the whole, I thought it was a very entertaining hour of television. Went by real quick. I liked it.
All right.
There's a lot of things I couldn't follow, but I enjoyed it.
Sure. Even last episode, y'all had trouble following some stuff, right?
Yup.
This one felt easier to follow. I thought, and granted, part of this might be the fact that we discussed it as nauseum last week, but yeah, I thought this episode was a good. I liked it. I thought it was a good, solid Star Trek-y hour. There's a problem, there's a larger arc, and they threw all the pieces in to the mix, and we got what felt like a pretty decent episode of a Star Trek show to me. I do want to make sure everyone noticed the fact that this episode confirmed the existence of improv comedy in the current Star Trek universe.
Oh my god,
Yep.
I wanted to talk about that.
Yo,
That was the best.
That's
What,
insane.
did somebody yes and or something? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, the orange hair girl.
Tilly says yes and to herself at one point.
Okay.
She said, I wish there was someone here to yes and me. Something like that.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right. I need Michael here. Yeah.
Which, let's break that down. It seems to imply that improv comedy in its current form has survived at least, 300 years in the future?
Yeah. I mean,
So-
y'all don't know the canon, but actually the original Starfleet Academy grew out of UCB.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. It's
All right, good to know it indoors.
Yeah.
Del Close founded the
Right.
Academy.
They're
I'm
very
glad.
into
That's
their
good.
ideology and this kind of way of living. So, it's like a cult.
yeah. UCB, very utopian.
Yeah.
Dystopian.
She looks like someone you would see on Harold Night, too. I mean, I don't know who
Yeah,
that
she
is.
does.
Yeah.
The orange hair girl.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tilly,
there's
yeah.
there's a non-zero chance she is UCB. Like, I would not be surprised if she like came from.
I wouldn't either.
At the very least, out of like Groundlings or Second City.
Right. Yeah.
She clearly is a comedic actress. Like, she's
great.
got really good timing.
She was on the Zach Galifianakis rodeo clown show.
Oh, the what is that? Baskets.
Yeah. I believe she was on
there you
that.
go.
So,
I bet folding money on that.
Yeah. All right.
I don't want to jump around, but I have a lot to say about her in particular.
All right.
Well, let's get into.
I don't know how you want to do it.
And then Sean, I know y'all surprised me last week by fucking loving Star Trek. Now,
Well, I fucking loved episode 1.
but this episode, how did you feel about it?
It did in a vacuum. I still liked it, but I thought it did a lot of the things we were afraid it was gonna do. A lot of like the fears I had after episode 1 were confirmed here, and I am less excited for where everything's going.
Oh
Like
no!
what? Like
The
what?
religion stuff.
Religion.
Yeah.
I know that was great.
Yeah, I thought they beat you over the head with it. I found it to be exhausting, and I think the Spock stuff is going to continue to be annoying.
Oh, that I didn't understand at all.
The very first note I wrote was, Jesus Christ, how many times are we going to do, I don't know where Spock is, oh wait, I know where Spock is.
Well,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
the thing. Pike keeps withholding information about Spock only seemingly for dramatic effect. There's
Right.
no other reason for him to keep that information from her.
Right, so he can reveal something the next episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he's not. He left a while ago. Oh, by the way, I know exactly where he went.
Yeah, and next week it'll be, oh, by the way, I know exactly what he's looking at. You know, whatever. You name it, there'll be,
Right.
you know.
Can I present like kind of my grand
Please.
thesis of this show?
Sure.
Please.
Yeah.
So, like, I know that on the sort of thesis of the rules of acquisition is that Deep Space Nine is like the beginning of prestige TV,
It
right?
is.
Wade?
Yeah. It's a
It's
begin-
more formative than people talk about.
Right. Yeah.
This show created for like what is supposed to be like a CBS Netflix. Like that's what it feels like to me. Like it doesn't really feel like prestige TV. It feels like really great network TV.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
Like, but I would never like. It's not something I would ever put on my own. Like, if it was just something on CBS, like I would never watch it.
right. That's
You know?
that's
Much-
been my complaint through all of Discovery was that it's not good. It's base. The writing is like base network TV writing
Yeah,
or bad. You know.
We said last week. I specifically
you
like
had
that.
a great analogy for this.
I mean, I won't say the exact analogy, but it feels like it's trying to be prestige. You know, like
Yeah, sure.
it's sort of like disguising itself as prestige. And those moments where like it tries to be too prestige-y exhaust me a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I think it can be a little bit wrapped up in its own asshole. But like I like it a lot. Like I think it's a show with real personality and real characters and like a plot, you know.
Well, but when you say like the religion theme was like hitting you over the head, like that's what it would be. You know, like if it was just on a network, like it would hit you over the head. You know what I mean? Like if you think about that as being just the style,
Right.
Or, like I guess the context for it, context. To use a big word in this episode.
Context.
Yeah,
Context
Jesus.
is king was a name of an episode from season 1.
See, there you
Is
go.
that true?
there you go.
What did he say? He said something so stupid. It was like, I hated the line. It was like, context gives us new perspective. Something like that. I was like, are you kidding? Come on, man.
This show is full of like, really, that's the line you're gonna use? Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Peanut butter is good with jelly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious to see what we're doing.
Right. All right. So Benny, coming in totally blind, with not even last episode, could you give a synopsis of what even happened here?
Oh my god.
I don't think so. So they're on the ship.
This is going great so far.
What happened to Jason Isaac? Wasn't he on the show?
He got killed.
Oh, I was excited to see him. Was he the captain?
He was an evil doppelganger captain that was a bad
sounds
guy.
good.
It was a double cross.
So they're on the ship, and then for some reason they have to go somewhere else.
Good.
For some reason it has to be this planet, but they don't know anything that's going on the planet. They go to the planet, there's religious people. This part I understood, because this seemed more or less to stand alone to me, even though I didn't know why they were there.
Yes.
Right. Benny, how did they get to that planet?
Oh, I don't know, hyperspace, they flew. I don't know.
All right. Yeah, no, let him finish.
Okay.
What the hell was the meteor? So then there's the redhead girl, and again, a lot to say about her, and Anthony Rapp, who I also have a lot to say about.
Yeah.
He's mad at her. Then the alien isn't. I don't know if I could do this. No, I don't know. I liked all the stuff on the planet, all the religious stuff. I really enjoyed.
Yes.
The stuff on the ship made no sense to me at all.
Yeah, that checks out.
What the hell? Like, they have so much money to make this show. Like, you could see it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's on the screen.
Why can't Doug Jones just open his mouth all the way?
Because then you'll see the teeth that don't really quite match up with the prosthetic face that he has.
Right, yeah.
Because that was a thing that bugged me last season. Every now and then you'd see his human teeth in the back of his mouth, and it was like, that's just weird. Look, like, come on.
So they fixed that this season, you think?
Well, I don't know.
Or they just told him not to don't open your mouth as much.
He can't open his mouth. He's like Mike Pence. He's just,
I want to hear the rest of what you think happened in this episode, Benny.
Well, I know what happened for parts of it. They go to the religious place. The religious people want technology because they have none. They want to light the church. Then something happens with some kind of nuclear thing. They can't get on the planet. And then this was maybe the weirdest part to me is they saw all this nuclear fallout problem. They can't get on the planet. They can't get him out of the planet. They can't beam him up.
Yeah.
And then they have this conversation about it with all these sciencey terms. And then somebody says, like, but we can't do that. Who's going to fly into the thing? And then Anthony Rapp, who was not in the room,
Right.
walks in as if he's heard the entire conversation.
Right.
And says, I can fly that thing. Then we never see him fly a thing, and the problem is no longer a problem.
Wait,
That's it.
but I
Just
thought-
beam him
Well,
up.
no, see that, yeah, I that misunderstanding is like you not understanding how they got there. He used the spore drive, Benny.
Which I did not. Why does he have to interface? I did not pick that up in the last episode. Why does
Is he a robot?
He's got genetic enhancements plugged into his arm, so he's not a robot. That was all stuff that, if you watched season 1, you would know that
Yeah.
he injected himself with tardigrade DNA, which they say a tardigrade, huh?
But they said that's illegal in this episode.
It is.
Yes, because of genetic enhancements are illegal because of
Khan, right?
Khan, yeah, and we talked about that last episode.
Yeah,
But that's the thing.
That's Star Trek lore that's
Right.
illegal, but he broke the law, but then they'll let this one slide because it's the only way to get over there.
Right, the spore drive is his baby, so he was willing to do this to make it work.
Right.
Well, so that doesn't answer my question. Like, why does he need to enter? Like, what?
Because he has the enhancements.
Yeah.
Well, but what? Like, what
So that's
does-
why they need to make like a non-human interface that can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, last season the big problem was the spore drive was an experimental thing, and before they had like a biological interface with the spore drive, they might jump to the wrong place. They might get like Manhattan experiments, like and Lovecraftian, like melted into the ship.
Yeah, Event Horizon or something.
There,
But
that happens, and then they figured out. Then they collected a giant space tardigrade from outer space that ate mushrooms and tortured it for a while, for 2 episodes
Oh,
to make it, and then they could jump wherever they want. But then they let it go after an episode, and Anthony Rapp injected himself with the DNA to be able to do it.
So is Anthony Rapp just telling? Is he necessary to be able to tell the ship where to go with the spore drive?
Yeah,
Is
he's like
okay.
he's a guild navigator from Dune. If y'all knew anything about that.
Got it. Oh,
okay.
I'll
All
assume
right.
I will pretend I got that reference. But
Yeah,
we're done here.
okay.
Can I?
Please.
I just I'm a fan of Anthony Rapp. You know,
Yeah.
in a casual way.
Sure.
Like I enjoy him Days to
Is
Confused.
is everybody watching Rent Live tonight?
Oh, that's tonight. Maybe.
It is tonight.
But
Sorry for dating the pod.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Very
yeah,
specifically.
bro. But I mean, is he fucking terrible in this? Like, I don't understand what he's doing. That's why I didn't think he was a robot because of the arm thing. I thought he was
Yeah.
a robot because his face is always in that same worried position.
I thought he was fine. I think he's good in the show most of the time. He didn't bug me this.
I think what they're trying to get across is that he's in kind of a maybe not a funk, but like, you know, his husband was killed in the last season, and he's like dealing with this thing with okay, so the thing with his husband, like being alive in the spore drive.
He sees him when he jumps, yeah.
Right. And that was something that confused me further about like what his function in the spore drive was. Like, does he like is he suggesting that like the spore drive, again, the event horizon, is like taking them to like a dimension?
Yeah. Well, the spore drive is the mycelial network of fungus extends across all the universe and apparently universes. And then they say in this episode, they bring up the like, oh, if astromycology has taught me anything, life goes on, and fungus is the great recycler of the universe. So it was like death and life, and so
creation
like
via astromycology.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I thought that was cool.
Well, the other thing is he says fungi. He does not say fungi. He says fungi, and that drove me crazy.
All right, well, that sounds like a you problem. Then.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think people just say that. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. But yeah, he was like,
I didn't even
He was
notice.
like, fungus is why life is eternal, and like his character, at least in this season, does seem to solely speak in like sweeping aphorisms, like, what was the thing he said to Tilly?
You are incandescent.
Incandescent. Like, yeah, he has very melodramatic lines, and I feel like they kind of need to spread them out. Like, I feel like they had a bunch of really, really melodramatic phrases that they wanted to use, and they've crammed them all into this character.
Well, see, where I disagree is they've crammed that into every character.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
For some reason, with him, it stuck out more.
It seems like it's just the writing of the show.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
again, like if that's what they're doing, that's fine. Whatever.
This is what I liked about the show.
Right.
Like, I liked, and I was gonna say with Anthony Rapp, like, because all the acting is over the top.
Yes.
Sure.
And I felt like some people were like, there were times when it felt like people were in different shows.
Yeah.
And it felt to me like they just haven't figured out like the right level.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I like it being over the top. I like all the monologue.
Sure.
I like because that's like feels true to what Star Trek is at least what it was.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's melodramatic by its nature. It's literally a space opera. And I do also want to just point out that this is probably the closest thing that's ever existed to like an adaptation of Mass Effect, because it does feel very Mass Effect, particularly with all of the melodrama. Like, that's and not to mention that the Spore network is basically the Mass Effect relays from those games.
Yeah, there's definitely similarities.
Well, the relays are, yeah. Well, we don't need to go in a whole Mass Effect
No,
tangent,
astrophysicology, it's different.
Yeah,
No,
because
sure.
the relays are points in space that you can travel to. The network is everywhere.
Yeah, it feels like the melodrama is there, and it didn't like really bother.
Yeah, I mean, I like this episode.
I did too.
It felt
Yes.
I like it in a vacuum. I don't know.
You're just concerned about what it suggests for what's like coming.
Well, like
next.
the religious stuff, they forgot. Like, Deep Space Nine covered all this stuff and it made the same kind of heavy-handed kind of stumbling through it. It's like it's a little bit more like going into the Clarke's third law of
any sufficiently advanced intelligence is indistinguishable from God, I think is what they said.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's the third law is any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Right.
And then Pike goes like, and then they extrapolated later and made up their own version of it, which pissed me off a little bit.
At that point, it's a different law. Like,
right. Any extraterrestrial intelligence is indistinguishable from God, and like.
Well, but Pike's father taught both science and religion.
Oh, that was.
So
like, he may as well have said, "My father really embodied all of this season's themes." Like,
right, exactly. I'm like, okay, fine, sure,
very neat.
I get it.
Is Pike Bruce Greenwood in the movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think some canon nerd, someone picked up. It may have been like Pike was Catholic at some point, so they are calling back to maybe something that got mentioned offhandedly once by somebody.
Sure, but
sure. No, that's fine. I have no issue with it. It's just just so funny, like in a season of television that has stated like this is about science and religion. He's like, my father taught science and religion. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, I
sure.
mean, because Deep Space Nine has these wormhole aliens that are gods to this one planet.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
And it's the same people that it's like, then Michael Burnham was like, but I believe in science. It has to have like but it's the same mistake that they make with Deep Space Nine, but because like, yeah, if you have aliens that are doing things that appear like magic, then it's not like a brain.
Right.
It's not that hard to unwrap your head around. Like Michael Burnham's like, no, there's got to be a rational solution. Like, well, yeah, that's what.
Right, Michael Burnham saying "science bless you" to these people, like, but fucking Bill Maherring all over them is like,
right.
I'm like, I think we're going. This is like a little, and I mean, I get you need like a foil, to what's happening in the season, and like for her to be the one seeing these angels, while also like having this like only science can explain, but while existing in this universe where just bonkers ass shit happens,
right?
It feels a little bit reductive to me.
Yeah,
I cringed when I think it was Michael that says science is my religion.
Yeah,
and
yes.
That Bill Maher, it summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a big problem. Like it was a little ham-fisted, but
Yeah.
No,
overall, I was like, I see what you're doing there. Deep Space Nine already did it.
Yes, yeah.
We're hosting a podcast. We're gonna nitpick. It's gonna happen.
Oh, I got plenty of.
Yeah.
I feel like not like having seen any of the rest of it
Yeah.
is maybe why I liked it, because I didn't know that that's what the whole show is about. I just thought it was like an interesting episode kind of exploring this
Right.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I and that's the thing, like, again, like, I did like it in a vacuum, like, it was all the stuff I liked about episode 1, they kept doing those things, like,
Right.
There's a lot of the set pieces are so silly and so fun, and I'm on board, like, I'm into them,
Yeah.
but yeah, like, we talked last week about, like, they're doing religion,
Yeah.
everybody, like, all caps, italics, we're doing religion, and I'm like, all right, boy, you're doing religion, all right.
And it's
So,
But isn't this like wait, like, I mean you're like a DS9 fan first and foremost, and I guess that's different. But isn't this what it is? Like this is my understanding of like what Star Trek is always.
This is pretty classic Star Trek. Even going back to the original series, like where every planet they go to for some reason has humans on it.
Right.
But
Right.
this,
God need a
Oh, yeah, I thought that
starship.
was
right,
crazy.
right. But this was a good way of telling that kind of story that was like, oh, that's a cool way of doing it. Like,
Yeah.
these are people from, and then for the canon and lore nerds, it gets a little bit because you get to go, oh, these are people that were displaced before the Third World War, which is a thing in Star Trek.
Well,
Sure.
So I did have a question about this. One, I assume General Order 1 is like the precursor to the Prime Directive.
Yeah, it's the
like,
Prime
It
Directive.
seemed to be functionally identical.
Yeah, the original series never says Prime Directive, but they do mention
Oh, really?
General Order
Okay,
1.
so
Yeah.
is there a canon explanation as to why it went from being General Order 1 to the Prime Directive?
I think they just somewhere Roddenberry probably started calling it that, like
Right.
between, and then by TNG they just called it the Prime Directive.
Got it. So just for whatever reason they changed it. But
Yeah.
related to that, so that was like the core conflict of this like adventure for them was this community of humans transported by what I presume are 2001 type aliens. I mean, they even referenced Arthur Clarke, so like it seems pretty
Oh yeah,
like a safe bet that like the angels will turn out to be some kind of hyper advanced race that, like you said, Wade, explains why
Right.
you have humans all over the universe, and why I would hope that would explain why there are so many alien races that are able to that resemble humans, and like in the case of like Vulcans, able to
Right. Well,
like reproduce.
that actually got explained away in a TNG episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that the reason all the humanoids in the galaxy are similar is there's some ancient something or other. I don't know.
Some kind of
Yeah.
whatever I can't remember what the concept is called, but like the aliens seeding life across the galaxy.
Yeah, Prometheus.
Yeah. Oh
the
God.
space jockeys.
I was thinking about
Oh boy. Oh boy.
That's that movie's legacy, is explaining that concept.
but,
anyway, so
I like
we don't have time.
Yeah.
So the Prime Directive issue is like the core of the adventure, and
That's what happened?
What?
Well, so Benny, the Prime Directive is
I know what the Prime Directive is. I just don't remember them getting one.
Pike says we can't interfere because they're a pre-warp culture, so we have to pretend.
Pre-warp.
Oh, never mind. I didn't know.
well.
What it was. Now I know.
So this I guess is nitpicky, but like I thought the Prime Directive, the whole purpose was like, if you come across a planet of like, medieval like level technology or cavemen like level, like that's where you can't like make contact because you'll influence. But if you're at a point where people, I guess the society wasn't even able to
What's your question?
Well, my question were they being, I guess, true to what the Prime Directive is supposed to like prevent?
Yeah, they're still, I mean, they were pre-warp. Like, Earth did not have warp tech while they were on
I thought
Earth.
You said war.
So
I thought, okay,
no,
war.
no.
So that's the, okay, got it. So that's the threshold is
like
warp
you can't
technology.
you can't give, if they're not advanced enough to do it on their own, they're just gonna, you give them this magic technology, they're gonna fuck shit up.
Got it.
And it's a little bit of a Margaret Mead, like, we can't influence their culture because we respect diversity and stuff.
So anyway, I guess that was my big question, is like, was this like true to it? And I guess it was. So never mind, ignore me.
Can I ask some more questions about what was going on?
Yeah.
Please do.
So what? So Spock, like,
Yeah.
I guess the whole Spock thing is so confusing.
Yeah.
She's Spock's foster sister. That's a thing.
Who's Foster?
Michael,
His
the
mom?
main character.
Michael was adopted by Spock's parents.
Yeah, so I didn't get it. So I'm like, she's a human, but she said she was raised on Vulcan. I see no ears.
Yeah. She's a human raised by Vulcans.
Well, you don't sprout the ears when you live there.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't understand the whole thing.
Sure.
So what happened?
Her parents died. She was taken in. She's a foster kid to Spock's parents. So she's Spock's foster sister.
And you remember from the movies, Spock's mom is human.
Yeah, I remember that he's the child of two or whatever. But,
Sure.
Yeah,
And and we think that they fucked.
Go watch episode 1.
Oh, you think her and Spock?
It could go either way at this point.
Maybe.
There's like, at the very least, there is like very unsettling, unintentional like undertones there.
I mean, it could be intentional.
God, I hope.
I mean,
not.
I think incest would be an interesting thing for the series to explore.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, we've been over this territory before, but incest is huge now.
Yeah, I mean, they're not related.
Right,
So, like,
right.
this is,
There's no blood.
Yeah.
right.
It's just emotionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, sure. It's deeply troubling. It's, not great.
We didn't get any further confirmation one way or the other in this episode.
No movement there.
I just felt like they kept reiterating, he's my brother, your brother, my brother, your brother.
Right. Incest Watch Week 2, nothing.
I guess you could say it's an extension of the theme, the science versus faith.
Is that?
Oh, sure. Oh, because scientifically they can fuck and it's
Sure.
fine. But
like emotionally in their hearts, they should.
Right. That's very interesting. Boy,
that's a very interesting take on that.
That
Okay.
is that is
All
my
right.
take.
We'll see.
the faith-based argument against adoptive incest.
Yeah.
Boy, I think I like this episode
Oh my
more.
God.
I think I'm.
You see, now you're seeing what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think I'm on board.
All right.
No, so
let
now,
me-
why do I give a shit? Like, why? Like,
That's my biggest running question with Michael Burnham.
Well, right.
like, why is Spock in the shit?
Because Star Trek fans love Spock.
Theoretically, like, them saying the word Spock, it's supposed to be exciting to me. Like, Spock is like the one thing I know about
Right.
Star Trek. But I heard it and I don't care.
Yeah.
It seems like we talked about this last episode, but like the Spock, because like Sean said, it's original Star Trek connection. He's the MacGuffin this season, or I guess the prime MacGuffin, and then the sub MacGuffins are these like signal, side quest markers that have popped up all over the galaxy. Or I guess they're main quest markers. Let's be real.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it's the other way around. I think they're
They're main quest markers that have side quests like adjacent to them.
They're the thing that give you an episodic problem of the week. You can go to a new signal each time.
Yeah, exactly.
The mechanism that keeps the show moving forward.
Right. And now the idea is that like these things are bringing them to people who need help.
Seems
it's
like,
like Quantum Leap. Yeah, I wrote that. It's
Yeah.
like someone even says like, oh, like we were brought here right when this nuclear whatever thing was happening because like we could help.
Right, and it was the same with Tig.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Is
she just on that premiere?
No.
Or is she going to be?
She'll probably show up every now and then, but she's not a series regular. She's just going to be a guest.
Gotcha. Okay.
Was Tig the yearbook girl?
No.
Tig Notaro was in the first
yeah.
episode.
Wait, what?
Benny, you know who Tig Notaro is. You thought Tig Notaro...
No,
I
but
love
no,
her.
he,
Where is she?
He didn't know she was in episode 1.
Oh, got it. I thought you were saying that you thought...
Tig Notaro's in this show?
Yeah,
She was in the first episode. Yeah, we don't know if she'll show up.
She'll show
again.
up again at some point, probably, but not as a regular.
Yeah.
Tig, you don't need to do
Well,
She was my favorite
She
part.
was very good.
that. No, I love her, but, come on.
Yeah.
speaking of the yearbook...
What the hell
I
was
called
that?
it.
Oh, yeah.
We're jumping to the very
Well,
end. Of the episode.
do we want to...
The whole story. Well, the whole story I didn't understand.
Right.
Who is she? How old is she supposed? I thought she. At first, I was like, she's in her 20s. At some point, I decided she was like 15.
Right.
Yeah, it was sort of all over the place.
Yeah, I'm afraid of Tilly Urkeling the show at this point, honestly.
Tilly.
Yeah.
I wrote, like, when I was watching, I was taking notes, and, like, halfway through, I wrote, is Tilly's friend imaginary? Because
Yes.
it was
brag.
very clear that, like, no one else was talking to this person, and that Tilly, like, didn't even really interact with her at all beyond just talking from across a room. So is that whole thing of, like, I don't know if y'all ever watched Buffy.
Yes.
The First Evil, it's the same thing where, like, they realize, like,
Okay.
oh, no one's actually
Yeah.
made physical contact with this guy, so it's the...
Yeah, well, it's probably the dark matter thing that blew her up.
Well,
Right, and then also,
What was that?
yeah, that was last episode. They captured this asteroid that is magic rock, basically.
that leaks gravity.
It had gravity fluctuations. Though I was annoyed, like, oh, we learned this episode that one little speck of the rock weighs a ton, whereas last episode Burnham could just pick up a rock and it was not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those, like, especially with, like, dark matter, it's like just hand wave, like,
Right,
oh, dark
right.
matter, it did this.
I mean, you could, but
Gravity fluctuations.
you can do that, but at least just call it out, like
Yeah.
And something else I noticed about the imaginary friend is in the next week, or, like, next episode montage, that character appears, and it looks like Tilly runs through her, and that
Right.
she's, like, made of, like, a hologram.
She's
So
a
I don't know if
ghost. Ghost.
Oh, geez, Scoop.
Yeah, because we learned that she
Oh,
died
boy.
like a year ago or something too.
Right. Are holodecks a thing yet in the Star Trek canon, or are those to
No.
come?
I was wondering that too.
No, they're not, but there's holograms all over the place. So that's
Okay. Well,
No, all right.
kind of getting back into connecting to the thing with Anthony Rapp's husband. Is it possible those things are connected? That, like, for whatever reason,
Yeah,
the
I mean,
ship is.
It's likely that we know that May is dead because we saw her, because the computer told us.
Right.
We know that Anthony Rapp's husband is dead because, well, I saw him die last season, and
Right.
and we know that he's kind of living in the mycelial mushroom kingdom because he talked to Anthony Rapp, and
His prince is in another castle.
Right. And Anthony Rapp said, I saw my husband in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Right.
And so presumably May has something to do with that. And then also a detail that the nerds on the internet had pointed out to me that I have noticed y'all wouldn't know, but at the end of last season, there was like a Horton Hears a Who speck that fell on Tilly's shoulder.
Oh.
So there's,
interesting.
is that where May came from? Or was she stuck in the space rock somehow? But maybe Tilly has a connection to the Mushroom Kingdom through
Well,
that.
I just think whatever's going on with May, that it seems to be at least partially tech based, because it really was like she, like, ran through her, and it was like,
Yeah, that's
All
a
right, well,
quick
don't-
thing. We'll know.
Yeah, I mean, don't get hung up on scenes from next week. They're intentionally there to throw you off.
fair
Yeah.
enough.
Did you guys notice the whole thing with like in his office, the chimney
He did have a fireplace, didn't
chimney that the Grinch was coming out of?
he? The what?
What?
Oh, the Who.
Oh,
Horton Hears.
fuck
Who-
off.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
But he did
Oh,
have a
boy.
fireplace, didn't he?
Did you guys notice that big cat with a hat in the background on the bottom?
yeah.
Okay, all right, we're moving on.
Pike got a table in his ready room because last episode he didn't like that standing desk. So, yeah.
Right. He likes to sit.
Yeah.
Heart disease. Not good. Standing desks are better for you.
Yeah, that's true.
Is it just that some alien species only eat green eggs and ham, or is that just a normal thing?
Yes.
So I feel like they probably could have renamed black alert.
I thought that was weird
yeah.
too.
That's-
Boy, they several times they were like black alert, and I was like, hey, listen,
Yeah,
come on.
that's
We
very
don't-
unfortunate sounding.
I mean, that's also to
that sounds like a
last
Fox
season.
News segment.
Yeah, like this is not great. Is
Yeah.
this? I mean, has this been?
Driving a spaceship while black is not an issue in the future. It's fine.
That was just a little detail that I was like, meh, it could be any other color.
Yeah.
Probably.
I thought it was funny too.
That's a callback because the Discovery is a super secret ship because it does things that nobody's been able to do in Star Trek even hundreds of years from now. So it's a holdover from when it felt like they were riding more on this is a secret thing that nobody else can know about. And they've kind of given that up.
Oh, okay. That's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, but Black Alert was whenever they did a jump, they called it that because
I see.
it's a step up from Red Alert, and it's secret.
Okay.
my grandmother.
Yeah. Yep.
Wait.
Good. Great.
She's, yeah, Glenn.
Yeah,
'Cause
okay.
she-
You knew what I was going to say. Yeah, so they go to the planet, they gaslight the Amish dude.
Oh, you know what the whole thing reminded me of?
What?
Have you guys seen that episode of Rick and Morty with the Purge?
Oh yeah,
Nope.
yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me of that.
Yeah, it's definitely that's definitely got some prime
Right.
directive vibes
Well,
to it.
Yeah.
and the Purge, that was a Star Trek episode before the Purge too.
Was it really?
Yeah, I think.
Are you
so.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
I can see that. I feel like they go to a planet and they basically have the purge.
Yeah, basically, I think. Yeah.
Got it. Interesting. But yeah, so they that poor guy that they kept gaslighting, it's like
Yeah.
what are you talking about? This was, we accomplished this through magic. What's this?
Yeah, but they made it right.
They did. That's true.
They made it
and
right
I,
at
and
the end.
I liked that. That whole plot. I liked it, but it did feel very rushed because there was so much other stuff kind of crammed into this episode.
Yeah, I could have used more of it.
Yeah, I totally could have too. I felt like
I would have liked to marinate on that planet some more.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Sure.
I would have done that.
And
like
those are the
marinate.
kind of Star Trek episodes I like, where they go like they are stuck on a planet, and you kind of get to live in a in a whatever world they're in for a little bit. Yeah, I felt like the final scene with Pike and that guy.
Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob, thank you. Where he like trades him for the helmet. There was like a good like emotional component to that scene where it's like this guy is like, hey, like my family's been trying to prove this for generations. Like I'm good knowing that we were right.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to like talk. I don't need to spread this to the rooftops. But like there wasn't really a whole lot of time for us to get familiar with that history for him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's like. I mean, that's the setup to me. Like not having any basis in Trek at all. Like felt Trekkier than like
Yeah.
It was definitely like, oh look, a planet where something's weird and let's go down. And now there's trouble getting back up, and we did it! Hooray! Like it was great. Like I like that structure.
Yeah.
But there's so much with the orbs and the Spock,
yeah.
and the spore network,
Right.
and all this shit. And I'm like, man, why can't we? All the beginning of that episode needed to be was there's a red orb here.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then they find out that there's people on the planet and
Right.
technology.
Yeah.
Like that's
There's-
it.
What do Trek fans want from this show?
Everything.
Like, is that what they want, or they want like a serialized thing?
They want this kind of shit. Yeah, like
Really?
this.
Right.
No, that makes
The
sense.
show, I mean, that's fine. And the show said we're going to be the most serialized Trek ever. And my thing I keep harping on is that they lied. It's not, but but whatever.
They got to goose those CBS All Access numbers.
Right. Well, yeah,
They got to get this thing off CBS.
They
all
never
right?
will.
This is
They're-
a mess.
they're bought in.
Yeah, they have dedicated way too much. But in retrospect, because I switched over to the commercial plan, and it like doesn't work as well when it's like you can't pause it and it'll go back to commercials. But just in general, the fucking gall of them to charge you for like this exclusive shit and still show you commercials. Like if I was them, at least just make it only no commercials. Like if you have to charge more, fine, whatever. But like don't insult people by being like,
Well,
oh,
wait, hold on.
wait,
I mean,
no,
and it's too much just for what you're getting. Like I wouldn't pay
No,
anything for it.
Yeah, I mean that I agree, but I mean I'm paying $5.99. I don't want them to say
No,
there
no,
is no commercial option. You have to pay $9.99.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't be doing this.
Sure. Well,
Like $5.99 is still too expensive, but like whatever. Like my mom will probably use it at some point to watch old episode of NCIS. Like the fuck do I care? Great.
I also believe that the show would be better if it was on just on TV.
Sure. Well,
Because I think the storytelling needs some discipline.
yeah, it's,
Yeah, maybe. Like, and I've had talks with other people. Yeah, nobody, the writers aren't getting paid network writing money.
Yeah, that's right.
They're getting paid streaming
Right.
money, which is not like real network money.
Yep.
I mean, and that's a whole fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it suggests that at least to start, they didn't really believe in this show. That they needed something to goose the numbers. And
No, I think it's the opposite. I think this is like the flagship.
Yeah,
This is like,
I agree. They put so much
this
money
is like
into
the
it.
only way they could get people
Well,
to subscribe to this
Yeah,
thing.
they needed a slam dunk for like a specific group
yeah, maybe.
who would be committed to sticking with their dumb app.
Sure. Well, that's
Remember,
why we have all these.
we don't remember anymore, but like when House of Cards came out, like movie stars didn't do TV
Yeah.
shows.
Right.
And David Fincher doing a TV show was like insane.
Yeah.
What show did David Fincher
know,
do?
House of Cards.
Oh, really?
He did House of
I
Cards.
never knew that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get David Fincher and Kevin Spacey, and Netflix is like, we did it.
Yeah.
We're here
Yeah, exactly.
forever now. Yeah.
Prestige television has entered a new era.
Yeah, I mean, truly.
But to Star Trek, it's the same thing. It's just this is like the safest
Yeah.
way to get people.
And I do feel like there aren't
Right.
really any streaming only sci-fi like genre shows that have truly taken off. I guess Stranger Things is the
Stranger Things.
but like
Yeah.
that feels very very niche.
Stranger Things is pretty huge.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, like everyone.
Oh no,
watches Stranger
I'm not saying Stranger.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like there's not really
Everybody was chasing Game of Thrones. That's what they were doing with this show. Even they're like, let's Game of Thrones Star Trek.
well.
Yes, that's right.
yeah.
Clearly, there's some elements that at least unintentionally are.
I'm not
mirroring
even.
Game
I'm
of
not even
Thrones.
talking about the incest. Yeah,
I
know.
am.
Oh, there's incest on Game of Thrones too.
Yeah,
It's like
Is that also a show about science and faith?
It's the
yeah,
whole thing.
Yeah,
it is way too much of Game of Thrones.
so yeah,
I didn't know
it happens. There's well, spoilers. We don't need to talk about Game of Thrones.
yeah, this ain't a Game of Thrones cast.
I don't.
All right, now listen. I know the show went to great lengths to prove me false here, but I don't give a shit. This is what I think. I'm sticking with it. I think Jacob's just a lazy asshole.
Oh yeah.
Who is that?
The guy on the planet
Oh.
who is convinced that there's signal.
Oh,
I
that
think
guy's great.
I think he's great. I loved him. I think he just doesn't want to farm anymore.
Like
I think he's like, no, like I don't want to do manual labor. Take me with you, dear God. They work me to the bone, and I don't
you
want it.
realize who Jacob is. Jacob is the guy in the infomercial who's like, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
this battery is my ticket out. I can just say, hey, I'm in charge of the battery now, and it's a free ride.
Right, I'm the battery guy. Without me, the battery turns off.
How much do you want to bet that, like,
How did he even know how to use that?
Pike turned it on for him, and he put the wires on it.
Well, I mean, it
Yeah,
was
you put
Yeah, yeah.
you just drape
He
the
did-
wires
right. It
over.
was insane that it's still using like a universal outlet
Right.
for like the plugs that they have. Just plug right in. Yeah, all right, sure.
Yeah.
Why
We
not?
had the guys in
Engineering,
engineering, just
R&D.
R&D. We had the boys in R&D. We look at your technology, and they whipped up this battery here.
they
you
put
go.
a USB port in it.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
You know-
This will work with your shit.
Right, because he's from the science family, and then
Right.
everybody there came from 100 or people that got saved by these angels, and they had people from every religion,
That was wild.
even Shinto, and somebody on the writing staff is Wiccan.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
it.
I saw it.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy that Wicca was mentioned.
Yeah, right.
I have a theory as to what's going on with that. So I think that there's a higher race of
Oh, yeah.
aliens
That's pretty
that
obvious.
are preserving cultural. They're like the Collector in Marvel or Brainiac for DC. Like they like go world to world, and like since on Earth you had World War III, and they thought, okay, this planet might literally cease to exist soon, so we're gonna take people from every religion and transport them to this like incredibly remote planet.
Yeah, well-
to preserve this culture.
It's like the bookworm from Toy Story
Oh.
3.
Yeah, it's like the bookworm.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
see
I
next.
don't-
We'll see next episode, or next episode might be Klingon.
Seems
shit.
that way.
Next time they go to a red signal in space that they have no idea where it is, even though they have a map with 7 spots on it. But
Right.
Well, let me can I ask about the captain?
Pike.
Has this guy been in it the whole series?
Pike or the fish guy?
The fish guy's also a captain?
he's
Well,
acting captain.
Okay, but you meant Pike. Okay.
Pike's a kind of fish.
I meant Pike. Is this guy been in the whole show?
No, he
No,
just
just this season.
Just a season.
See, he's new. Okay.
Pike showed up last episode and took over the ship from the fish guy who took over when old Captain was revealed to be evil and died.
Yeah.
Thrown into a Star Owl ad.
Yes.
So I guess that he would go under a category of actors that I would call and I would also put the Tilly, what's her name?
Yeah, Tilly.
Mary Wiseman.
Under the category of just generic actors.
Uh-huh.
Like if you think of an actor, like that's an actor.
Well,
there's nothing like particularly like really exciting about either of them. I mean the Pike guy is pretty good.
I like Tilly and I like Pike, but it will kind of support your thesis a little bit, at least with the guy playing Pike, that he is the lead actor from the Inhuman show, which you could not have created a more generic looking show if you tried.
Yeah.
But Pike is also a character from the original pilot of Star Trek, and who is a generic white guy from the 60s. You know?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to blame the two of them, you know? But she is very much like a type, like a nerdy and quirky and cool kind of, you know, whatever.
I think she's a straight hottie, though.
She's a fan favorite for sure.
Oh, she's pretty.
Yeah, she's a babe.
Which I'm afraid of her irkling the show a little bit because
No, that's fair.
I could see that.
her like, oh my god, and I need Michael here to yes and me, and then just her like her shit fit like anxiety stuff, and she comes barging into the bridge with her nightgown on and stuff. It's like, just dial it down, you know, like it doesn't have to go to 11.
Yeah.
But like Michael is, to me at least, an exhausting protagonist.
Yeah.
Michael is like a character that I do not love following around all the time.
She's not fun.
No.
I think she just doesn't really have like a clear point of view to her aside from like, you know, what's happening in an individual episode. Like granted, I've only seen 2 episodes of this show, but I feel like I don't have a good sense of what she believes beyond being the protagonist and whatever's like moving. So like in this episode, she was like really pro-science. Last episode, you know, was something else. And I just, with Pike, I guess there's a similar problem, but like, I feel like I have a good sense of Pike's character from these 2 episodes, and same with Tilly, and same with Saru, and
Michael's
just with Michael, she feels more like a video game protagonist, where it's like, okay, whatever this current situation is.
She's got that's been a problem for me the whole series. Like,
really,
I mean, they set up the whole show's about her character, and then she has like, here's what I believe. Empty platitudes is what I believe in.
Yeah,
you know?
that's the kind of thing I don't like. But you know, and she's. I like, which is actually in a sense it's good news because like the writers have a chance to kind of fix that. Like there's not
I think the writers think that they're writing her exactly how she's supposed to be, but that's I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like Star Trek protagonists have very clear and like distinctive characteristics about them. Like obviously you've got the swashbucklers like Kirk and Pike, and then Spock's got his stuff. And so I guess it's as simple as like, I don't know what Michael's thing is.
She's supposed to be logical, but tinted with emotion.
Right. She's a human raised on Vulcan, like.
Right. Yeah. My problem with her is that she over emotes everything.
I mean, that registers to me. I feel like I understood.
Yeah, but she's fine.
I did really like the line she had where it's like, he makes a joke or something and she says, look, I was raised on Vulcan. We don't do funny. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
That was a moment I really liked. And I'd like to see more like that. Like more just like.
I don't know. I feel like I get her. I just feel like she's exhausting. Like I feel like I don't everything. And we've talked about this before and I get the impression Wade talked about it last season. Like everything she says is so weighty, like it's so like she doesn't throw away anything, and that's just not how people talk. So just like staying with her all the time, I'm like, you are
exhausting.
You're exhausting. Like I keep using that word, but I think it's the best word. Like I want to follow Pike around. Like I want to, like, and I do agree that Pike is sort of like generic. Like I'm a white actorman. I'm captain. So I do captain stuff.
Oh, look at me.
Yeah, but I think at least he's like, I'm the captain. And I'm like, all right, look, you changed the tone of your voice. And Michael's like, what if I believe in science? And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, my God.
Yeah, right, fine. Yeah, I was going to say Anson Mount does, at a glance, look like he'd be like the poor man's Jai Courtney. But I do really like him in the show. Like, I think he's doing...
I think Anson Mount's great.
That's a name, all right.
I think that Glenn has to project Jai Courtney onto every act.
Every
because
actor.
Jai Courtney looks like every single white male actor.
Yeah, I mean, boy, that's pretty fair.
Jai, if you're listening, I love you.
Yeah, he's he writes in, calls in every week, but I
go.
can't put him on because it wouldn't be fair to the other people, because I don't roll like that. I don't like the name drop, but me and Jai are pretty tight.
Oh, that's great.
He's just a close friend. Yeah.
Yeah, but Michael's extra special, and then we learn in this episode that Tilly not only is in the command training program, she mentions the CTP. That's what that is, Benny said.
She's the youngest.
She's also the youngest, which that just pissed me off too. Like, everybody doesn't have to be the specialist special. You know? Like,
Yeah, like
it's special enough that she's in the program. That's great, but they have to make her the youngest ever, which doesn't. I mean, just into Nerd Corner. Okay, it's a training program in Starfleet Academy. She's been in the academy for at least a few years, so why is she the youngest anyway? That's dumb.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm looking up how old the actor.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I get like I don't. Maybe they did more last season, but like I mean, she had the idea of how to save everybody, but I feel like beyond like I just haven't seen a ton of her that I'm like, yeah, she's gonna be captain. I get that.
Right. Yeah. She says, I'm going to be a captain someday in the show. It's like,
She's gonna be the captain.
Well, not like,
Right.
Yeah, she will be. Though.
She's plucky and she's ambitious and all that stuff.
right.
If these succeed, she'll get a spin-off at some point. Like
Yeah.
who? Yeah.
Nerd cornering again.
Yeah.
Like she brings up, I have a novel solution. If we modulate the deflector dish, that's like the beginning of every Star Trek solution ever.
Oh, really?
But then they just end it with like modulate the. It's like, yeah, that's where you start. I've watched enough Star Trek, but you need to tell us how you're going to modulate it. Oh, for gravity or something. But yeah, technobabble was
Right.
She
okay.
did do that classic thing of like using like a very simple analogy to describe her plan. Like I can't remember what.
Like a donut.
Drifting. That's right. Yeah, they were drifting.
Yeah.
Yep. They drifted in space, and they couldn't fly through the asteroid field to get to the spot they needed to get to. But of course, boy, it feels like they spent a lot of time saying no spore drive. And then this episode twice, they were like, "Oh fuck yeah, spore drive!"
I mean, well, it's there.
Yeah, see, that's the show, like, forgets to write. They have all these details that they can call on, but they're not writing around them to where these details and how they live in the world.
Yeah.
They need a good like show Bible like point person to be like, okay, look, this is like or continuity person, I guess. Like,
yeah, that's what this show seems to have. The show, like they did this last season too. Like they collect something big that you think is going to be with the show the whole.
Right, and then they throw it away.
Yeah, like last season it was the tardigrade that they mentioned offhand in this. This season they get this big rock, and that last episode didn't weigh 1 billion pounds per square inch, but now it does.
Right.
And then they poop it out the floating dock at the end.
Yep.
it's too dangerous.
And then they just get rid. Now it's gone, and I'm sure we'll have Tilly's one little sample that she got, and that's where we'll deal with May. But
Yep.
Why do they need this rock? What's the significance of the rock?
they think it's going to help them interact with dark matter, which dark matter is the new mushroom, I guess, because they need.
Right. And now they're talking about using it to make something to drive spore drive.
And then
That's
they're
what's
also going to have like a limited energy at some point. Yeah,
Right.
so there's a couple of.
It's unobtainium, basically. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's funny you say that because the second I saw like the rock floating, I was like, unobtainium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely reminiscent of that. I thought the ship should have done something cooler when it spit the asteroid out its butt. I thought it like
That was pretty cool.
they're like, oh, so I'm gonna do a donut in space, and I'm like, well, dope. Let's see this thing do a donut in space. And then it seemed like they just warped to a spot and turned.
Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
They just like teleported there essentially.
That wasn't a donut.
Yeah, like they just made a left turn.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I mean, all right, that's fine. Good idea still, but
Sure.
just a weird
Yeah.
little anticlimactic, I felt.
A little bit. And that
Yeah.
the resolution to this felt a little bit rushed.
Yeah, I
Like when Pike gets the phaser goes off and one, we saw them set it to stun. I guess the villager
Right.
set it to kill or something.
Oh yeah.
the girl. Yeah, sure.
What happened with the phaser? Do phasers have like grenade settings?
You can overcharge a phaser.
Oh, okay.
So apparently that's what happened. And then this is an issue I brought up last season of Disco Home. They've said we have time to do whatever runtimes we want.
Right.
But they fit it all into like 44-minute, like they think that they're going to get a broadcast showing, which they're not.
They're hedging their bets just
Right,
in case.
but like, so
At this point, it isn't clear that that's not going to happen.
It's pretty-
because this episode, right? Like this was rushed.
yeah. And, you know, like, because, like, the phaser goes off and then they rush over immediately. Instead of looking and checking them over, you could have spent an extra 10 seconds with, oh, my God, what's going on? But no, she jumps immediately. Oh, my God, he's dying, like, within a second. Like, and that's, like,
Right.
it feels to me like they're trying to cram for time to get it in under a runtime, which,
Right.
like,
We know they don't have to.
milk. If this episode lasted 46 minutes instead of 44, that would be fine, you know?
Yeah.
That's true, and that would have made a big difference, even just
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. There's little.
This is what I mean when I'm saying that I think that the show would be better on network. First of all, like I watched it without commercials, but those aren't like real act breaks. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I can see it being jarring
Yeah.
with commercials.
It is a little bit. Yeah.
If they actually had to work in like a network, like be making it for network TV, where it's even less than 44 minutes. I think it's like 42 or something now,
Yeah.
maybe 40.
Yeah.
Like it would force them to be more economical with the storytelling. You know, because it's like I think I enjoyed every story, but
yeah. But that's the thing. I think like
they're all over the place.
yeah. Well, I think you're fair. Well, I think they have to pick one. I think they have to. You know, every episode could be like an hour long. We dive in, we give every story a lot of time, and maybe sometimes it feels too long and it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
But at least you don't get moments like this. Or right, like you make a network show, a broadcast show, you know, and we get people who know how to write those compressed stories, you know.
Well, and what are they doing here that's so revolutionary? You know, it's nothing. Like it's not like an R-rated Star
No,
Trek. It's not like an
no.
edgy Star Trek. Like there's a gay guy, you know, whatever. Like it's nothing. I don't know. There's no reason for it to exist this way.
No, the only thing that it's doing is spending $1 billion on a TV show.
And
Right.
Yeah, you're right. I guess the budget because the effects are amazing.
Yeah, it's expensive Star Trek.
I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure. Oh, I like it, but yeah.
please.
You'll take the money.
No, I'll take like a very expensive looking Star Trek show. Like,
Well, wait, Glenn. You wouldn't take the money?
Of
You're not going to
course
take all that. Trek
Glenn, you don't
money?
want Glenn. I'm offering you right now a season's budget worth of Star Trek money. Do you want it?
okay, I'll use it and I'll make my own like live action DC Universe show. Done.
I don't care what you're doing with it. I'm just offering you money.
all right. Fine, I'll take the money. You twist my arm.
Yeah.
I'll take the money over the show.
Go buy an island. I don't know.
I'll take the money. Yes, and
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I would prefer even no money and tighter, better stories. But, you know, this is what we got.
Wade loves Star Trek.
That was the right answer, Glenn.
Yeah, y'all all fail. So, all right,
All right. I just King Midas'd you guys, and you failed.
podcast is over. Well, let's wrap it up. I think we've gone long enough.
I think, yeah.
You got the wrong answer, and I'm just going to have to close it out.
Yeah. Then now the podcast has to be canceled.
I would like to.
We're done. Goodbye.
I would love to briefly just talk about young Sheldon.
Oh, okay.
for a minute.
That'll be behind the paywall.
yeah. The Patreon.
Yeah. Give me Patreon.
Yeah.
Let me do a little young Sheldon.
I thought
I did watch young.
I
Sheldon.
thought young Spock in episode 1 had some young Sheldon vibes to him.
He certainly did.
Is
If
it
you-
possible it's the same actor?
So wait, Spock is in the show as a baby?
Yes.
There's a baby Spock.
well, like the first episode of this season.
and
Do people hate that?
not enough of them.
I mean,
did.
we talked about it. It's like it's like the annoying prequel thing of like, isn't it so interesting to see where everyone like started?
Yeah.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Why? What importance could it possibly
yeah,
have
this-
for anything I've seen before?
Yeah,
Knowing like
it
what
does.
his
I
childhood was.
think
whatever.
it was more to contextualize like the fact that he had visions and all that.
Right, which all the
bullshit.
stuff with Spock's in the show because the suits thought people want Spock, so they told him to write Spock into the show, and that we're getting Spock
Get
now.
us a descendant of Gregory Peck, and to their credit, they did.
Yeah, who last episode I was excited because the voicemail sounded a lot like Spock.
Oh, that's cool.
And this episode that was thrown out the window.
Sure was.
Yeah, I was listening, and it just doesn't really.
It doesn't.
He sounds more like Quinto than he does like Nimoy.
Right. Well, they changed. I think they probably worked really hard on that pilot episode to make him sound like Leonard Nimoy, and then they
Sure.
just realized they can't do it.
They did. They were like, okay, we can't do this every goddamn week.
he can't pull it off, so we're fine.
Would it? I know there's a rights issue, but like, it could not possibly have been that unfeasible to get Zachary Quinto.
They
So I
s-
guess that would open up a lot of
that-
doors that they didn't want to go through.
Probably. Yeah, and they didn't want to pay for him to.
No.
Yeah, all the money goes into effects, not paying the writers of the cast, I'm sure.
The money's on
Yeah.
the screen.
All right, I think it's time to probably. Do y'all have any final thoughts about this episode, though?
No, I mean, nothing. I like this episode. I think I appreciate the overall arc. It's just a matter of the execution, and it's like I'm still not 100% there with that. But
we got a little bit with Lieutenant Oweshikon, or I butchered her name.
the Luddite.
Yeah, which her coming from a Luddite collective, but felt weird to me. Like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, they didn't really talk to her about that at all, and there wasn't anything that was useful in the episode about that.
Well,
She opened a door with a magnet.
Except it wasn't even a magnet. She was like, if you give me a magnet, I can do it. And then she just used some wire.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that she magnetized or something.
Yeah, that was weird. But like, I was expecting there to be like, like her knowledge to be like actually used during the episode, and they're like, nope, she's just along.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe there's a longer cut where it is.
maybe.
Right.
That's all on the floor.
She was a background from first season, and everybody's excited to see more of her. And it's nice that they let her do more. But
yeah.
I've never heard of a Luddite commune that wasn't religious, so it was weird when she's like,
Right.
"Oh, I don't know. My people don't believe in that religion bullshit, but they don't believe in."
Right. I was like, I think you might. I think your people
Right,
might
but
believe
then
in it.
why are they Luddites? Why do they live in a society without technology?
Right. What's the point then? Like, why are you doing it?
Yeah. That was a bit of a head scratcher, but whatever.
Yeah.
But it could be interesting to explore that.
It could be, but they won't.
It's almost like some of the writing's weird on this show.
It's almost right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I did like the episode. I did not like it as much as the first one. I think my excitement at enjoying it really carried me through that first episode, and I did love it. I did. Yeah, I don't know. I like what the show is in a vacuum, and I think it's fun to point out the dumb shit it does because it's good. Because like the dumb shit it does not infuriate me. It does not upset me. It's just like, all right, like you're a good show that does dumb shit. I just don't need them beating me over the head with like the orbs, bringing them to help people, and the angels.
Yeah. Right,
and
right.
Pike's dad was like so exhausting. Like that line is so early in the episode, and I was like, no, enough, man. And Jesus Christ, like I hope the word Spock is just not said next episode, you know?
Yeah, but it won't be. Next episode, we get Spock's mom, I think, because they said, oh, he'll never agree to see me, so I'm assuming they go get Amanda to do it.
Right, sure. Yeah.
Next episode should be interesting, because I think it deals a lot more with Klingon stuff, so...
Yeah, well, I'm interested,
Right, so that should be fun.
with no context from season 1 to see what's going on with the Klingons.
And I'd be all the Star Trek nerds on the internet would be mad at me if I didn't mention that this was directed by Commander Will Riker.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Oh, the actor.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
So
That's
but
cool.
He directed last
neat.
season too, and some of the better direction I think was his, but
Cool. All right.
He also directed an episode of The Orville.
he did. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's great. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do Star Trek fans like the Orville?
That's mixed, but that's also behind the paywall.
Okay.
For my thoughts on that.
Do you like it?
Oh, it's behind the paywall. I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Patreon, man.
No, actually, yeah.
Keep trying to give it away for free.
Yeah, I have thoughts about the Orville. This isn't the podcast for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, buy the cow, guys. You ain't getting that milk for free.
Well, I just don't think we have time for it. Look at that.
No, that's fair.
Won't even tell his friends. It's all about that
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solid episode.
Okay, yeah. Benny, are you excited to watch more, or are you done? Or
No, I would watch more. I don't want to watch it all the time.
yeah,
We'll have you back in a couple episodes.
But I really was pleasantly surprised. I have no attention span. Everything feels slow to me.
Yep.
All of a sudden, I'm like, wait, am I halfway through the episode? I just enjoyed it.
Cool.
I'm very curious. The angel thing is such
yeah.
cool imagery.
It is cool
And,
imagery. I've said what I don't like about it, but I do think they do a good job visually.
Yeah.
right.
I am.
yeah, I'm into the
struck
whole
by
thing.
it.
And
certainly.
the nerds on the internet pointed out a theory that putting on my Star Trek glasses
Yeah.
that they are possibly Iconians, which are a race that have gates throughout the galaxy that have come up in the original series, TNG, and Deep Space Nine.
Like early
And
gates.
apparently in one of the video games, they resemble these red angels.
Oh.
So
I feel like anytime you think that, like, something in anything, like not just Star Trek, but anything where you're like, oh, this thing from this like video game or this like, you know, expanded universe book or whatever, this is probably what they're going to do in this show or this movie, like it almost never turns out to be the case.
right.
No, it's just
Yeah.
like an egg.
So
It's just, you know.
who knows if that'll go, but yeah. Nobody
All right,
knows what the
interesting.
Iconians look like in canon, but they're mentioned.
I'm very curious about the Iconians. And I guess just I found some of the performances distracting.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
really blame the actors.
No, I think it is. Yeah, the writing and the tone of the show.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
And there was one thing I found particularly distracting, which is what was the Lorax doing on that? Why is-
All right, we're done.
All right. Okay.
All right.
all those trees.
All right. Well, look at the time. I had to
Someone's
cut
got
you
to
off.
speak for them.
Yeah, no. Thanks everybody for coming
Hey,
on.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, if listeners want to get in on the action, they can leave a voicemail at 917-408-3898. I'm still not sure what we're going to do with that, but we'll do something. Or check out the Kickers of Elves Patreon at patreon.com/kickersofelves. Maybe I'll talk extendedly about the Orville, but who knows? If you can't. If you want more James and Hugh, go there and check out the Rules of Acquisition about Deep Space Nine. But I bet a lot of you listening maybe found us through them.
Safe bet.
So, yeah, all that stuff. Do all the stuff every podcast wants you to do.
Make sure you go to Glenn and Wade's QED show.
QED&D with
Yeah.
Glenn and Wade.
Who's the guest
next
this
month
month?
we have Christian Finnegan, and we're doing a John Wick campaign.
Yeah.
And you can follow us at
There you go.
That's exciting.
At QEDAND and D. So QED and D.
Yeah, the whole word, not an ampersand.
Yeah, spelled out.
Like
Yeah,
spelling out and
Yeah, that should be fun.
Cool.
QED&D.
Thank you. That
Well, don't. Yep. Okay.
confusing the listeners.
Yeah. QE Dand.
QE Dan. QE Dan.
Yeah, QE
Oh,
Dan.
QE
Yeah,
Dan.
there you go.
Duh.
All right, but that's enough. I'm
Hey, wait, we're getting the brand awareness up.
yeah. Oh, the producer's flagging me down. I gotta go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, bye.
This has been a podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher or Caster or Fuckcast or Podsucker. Review us on iTunes. Also grab a bit of fame for yourself by calling us at 917-408-3898 and leaving us a message. We play that shit on air. Or email us at rulesofacquisitionpodcast@gmail.com. Also, listen to our Deep Space Nine podcast Rules of Acquisition. It is pretty amazing, but you may not yet be ready for its awesome amazingness. Assess your personal awesomeness appropriately.